Okay, so we've been talking about add-ons, particularly Elvui and Clique, recently. So, for those who don't know, I figured I'd just do a run-through of Elvui and Clique. Particularly because Brandon asked what they are, so I'm just gonna do a full thing on them. Hopefully, this is somewhat actually explanatory and not just a bunch of bullshit. Um, I don't feel like having to screw with things on my priest or monk, particularly because my monk doesn't do any healing or really use uh, any abilities on anyone but himself, so that wouldn't be all that useful. Um, but I figure I'll go through. Actually, I really don't even know. Let's go through the Snout, my holy paladin. Um, I haven't set up anything on her. In fact, check what add-ons I'm even using. Disable Mogget, just because I don't need it. Um, Everything else, yeah, that's fine. Okay, so basically, Elvui is a full UI redo. Um, it's what makes my bars look like this, my chat on either side. Uh, this is Healium, which I will be detailing later. Scada's up there. All this, all the fanciness down up there is all Elvui. And let me just get some things out of the way that'll be bugging me later. Oh, guild's moved, whatever. Anyway. I don't have max garrison resources? That's surprising. Da da da. So, that it's still here. And people are actually online? Seafood? Seafood's online? Man, it's been a while. Sorry, nostalgia. Anyway, get rid of that. So, basically, all my action bars are down here, and in fact, I'm going to fiddle with them a bit so I can show you, in part, so I can show you guys just what Elvui has. This is the config menu for Elvui. Here you can select everything, literally just freaking everything. Like just the basics, accept invites. This is really handy, so I don't even get from guilds and friends. I don't even see the accept button. It just automatically pops me in the group. You can select to announce interrupts and how. I'm not even sure what this necessarily does. Auto repair is handy. I don't bother using it just because I like to keep track of how much my repair costs are. There's also somewhere later, it might be here, where you automatically, this is the bags, where you can automatically select to sell all your gray items. You can also go through, the media is the stuff underneath the chats as well as here. Because I'm a paladin, the value color is set to pink. You can select the textures, the font. I have the combat font. Just pretty basic. Can't see it when things are in the way. But yeah, let's just select that. So yeah, that's that. The mini map, you can select, all the buttons and what goes where. XP bar and rep bar, how your threat shows up, which currently my threat, when I'm in combat, shows up above this, which is kind of annoying, but I don't have a better way of putting it because I don't want it over, well, could have it over there, could have it over there, it doesn't really matter. I have it over here mainly because when you type, that bar becomes chat, so I don't want the chat to be covered by threat or my chat to necessarily in-game or in-battle cover that. Class bar, I don't even know what it does, other than for shaman it shows totems. For monk, for my monk it shows my little statue guy, but I don't know. I really don't know what it would do on other things. Cooldown text is, as you would expect, cooldown text. And this is just a little objective frame over here. I don't have any I'm not tracking any quests. Let's do that. And then, set where to show the bonus rewards. I haven't upgraded level 3. Show the height is, obviously up and down, how high it is, I think. It also might be the height of the thing itself. I really don't know. It's not doing anything, so I don't know what it does. I'm just gonna put it back to 80 and not fuck with it. Anyway, so the most important thing, though, is the action bars. You get the boss button, which is obviously your extra action button. The micro bar, which is this. All your little options. Stance bar down here. Pet bar, which I have show up over, I don't even know right now. I think it's actually over here. And then bars, it only shows bars 1 through 6, which is a little annoying because I think bartender goes up to 8, if not 10. So I wish it showed more. However, 60 buttons is, actually I think it's more than 60, because I think it's 12 per row. So 72 buttons is plenty. Like I have toys on here because what the fuck do I need all this space for? Bags, obviously, it consolidates all your bags, but you can hover over the individual bags themselves to show what's in which bag and what slots are which bag. This person's bags are utter crap. It also has a bank. You can see, because I have it aligned to chat, I can't mess with the width, but you can see here it says button size bank. Offset bank, that's literally for, I think I have it on, no, I don't have it on this person. It's literally for going into your bank and changing things. Not sure what this does, I just don't care. I guess it's just neat little things you can do for the search. But anyway, close that. I don't remember where my bags bar is. Is it in arch? It shouldn't be in action bars. Is it in general? Don't know. Oh well, I don't remember where it went. Oh, also, another kind of annoying thing, in my opinion, that Elvui can do is have these little panels. It's just black at the top of the screen. I don't know why it's there, but it's terrible. I hate it. It just gets in the way. It's like, what is that? Why can't I see? Oh, because it's being stupid. Anywho, chat options. Data texts are the things within these bars, within the media bars. So you can, and up here, so you can actually select what shows, whereas the media bar just shows options for general options for the media. Nameplates is obviously nameplates. Wow, look, all fancy nameplates. I always have enemy nameplates on just so that I can see when things are going to die without having to tab target everything. Especially because in boss fights, they're usually the boss, you can't, as the nameplate's out of the way, so that doesn't even matter. And I like being able to see when the little guys are going to die, so that I can, single target things if necessary. As healing, I do not show friendlies. I still show enemies. Just again, so I know what damage is coming from where. It also shows cast times, so I can, on my priest at least, I can interrupt if necessary. Hell, and this guy can interrupt too. Yay! This is what Elvui replaces. Literally, for me, it's everything. I don't know how it would replace quest choice. That's a weird one. And it says alert frames, but it also does loss of control. So I don't know what the alert frame is if it's not the loss of control. Again, doesn't that, those these are this is something that just doesn't really matter. If you happen to specifically like the frames of, say, the black market auction house, you can choose not to replace it, and so voila, you're back to having the basic Blizzard black market auction house. Heck, you could even do, well, actually, I shouldn't say that. And barbershop would probably be somewhat handy, actually. Just because with the black or the color, the basic color that it has, I think black is default. It can be kind of hard to see things. Let me see if I can have anything that has a gem slot to show what I mean. Nah, like when trying to find the socket, I mean, you know it's in the center, but it doesn't show like a darker square or a lighter square or an outline or anything. So it's like, let's play find the spot where the gem fits. It's particularly annoying in the auction house because the auction house is just this large dark area, and somewhere in there is the box to put things to put up for auction. It's almost like a little mini game with Elvui. Tooltips are obviously tooltips. You can show inspect info. I don't know why, but it like if I hover over, I wonder if I hover over myself. Can I hover over? Yeah, my tool. Ah, there it is. Oh, I don't have it selected. Hold on. Inspect. This is obviously just to put it where the mouse is, as opposed to having it anchored somewhere. So this, for some reason, it's only when I'm holding Shift that it shows the talent spec and item level. So the inspect info. I don't know why it's only when I'm holding Shift, but it is. Unit frames is where things actually get complicated. Filters. This is, you select, say you don't want to see, where's Blacklist? Say you don't want to see Pepe, the Pepe buff, ever. You just select filter, you type in Pepe, and you and add it. Or you can select from various that they already have, so that you don't have to, undefeated. So you don't have to type it in, and worry about typing it perfectly. You can also remove spells from the list if you're noticing that, say you accidentally put Pepe on the backlist, and now you want to see when people have Pepe on their head, you can remove Pepe, and he'll show up again on people's things. A neat thing that I think that I like about Elvui is that what shows on the bar here is not the same as what shows in your buffs and debuffs. Like, in your buffs and debuffs, these will always, like, everything will always show. But I specifically, well, blacklisted, frankly, specific buffs so that they don't show and clutter up the space above my bar. So that in combat buffs, temporary buffs, for example, Infusion of Light, shows up here, as well as here. I don't know why Illuminated Healing doesn't show up. Guess it's just because I can't do anything. But yeah, that's why you see things here that aren't here. Oh, it's been a while. So anyway, now to unit frames, which is what all these are. Unfortunately, I need to get in a raid group. Actually, no, I can toggle it, I think. Voila! It's a whole bunch of kibble snouts. So anyway, first is the player frame. Player frame is, to me, the just most important thing, period. I always, this seems... Oh, that's, okay. So that's buffs. Oh, sorry, okay. So yeah, down here is where you select the actual, like, important stuff. For some reason, your target, as in default, the you have, like, the player frame has health on the left and mana on the right, but your target always has health on the right and mana on the left, and that makes no sense to me as to why they would switch it. So I've made it so it's always the same for everything, because that's what makes sense to me. The threat icon is a little red dot, the red square that shows up when, if that player has actual, like, has threat, not just is second in threat, but like is being targeted. And you can set all sorts of stuff. Not sure what I just did. Not sure. I don't remember what it was at because I'm terrible. Oh well. And height and yada yada. But then you get down to the actual important things of, power is just your mana or whatever. You can have filled, you can have it in set. I don't like that. I think it's harder to see that way. Kind of space off the side again. Like, I would probably do it this way for a caster class. But for a class that I really want to keep track of my mana and know very strict percentages, like I know if it's here, it's at 50% and yada yada, I'd like it to be pretty much as large as possible. This exposition is just somewhere visible. Name, you can have it show your name. I don't have it show my name. I just don't think it's necessary to have my own name on here. Picture is a neat little thing. The portrait, you can have it overlay, because you can usually have it over here. I don't know why she has a thing above her head. Oh, that's Pepe on her head. Ha. So you can have it, have a little picture there showing, obviously, what your target looks like. But if you overlay it, voila. So I like the overlay. I think it's a neat little thing. I don't even... Oh, this is just a marker for when you're in PvP or not. As opposed to the little marker that's up by the usual portrait. It's just a little sign on there. Buffs. Here's where things like here's where the actual important things are. Number of rows. I actually want to bump up to 2. So max rows of 2. Size. I don't know why. Oh, because that's debuffs on top of it. I think I have it about 25 with 10 per row. Don't remember exactly. Let's see if I can knock that down to 24. No, it won't go to 24. That's unfortunate. So that's how I have it on my priest. Just because I don't need the really huge things. Because also go down to aura bars and enable. And that shows you all these. So when you get a buff, you'll get an aura bar that goes with it and counts down. For example, gonna have to wait until I actually get the buff. This is why I need more crit chance on this cow. But yeah, it shows time remaining. You can have it show debuffs instead. So for DPS, for example, or for enemies, like for targets, you have it show debuffs as opposed to buffs. Whoops. What did I? Oh, that's what. So yeah, see how it shows the buff, and then the countdown. It's a little larger than it needs to be, but I don't see a way to size it. I attach it above debuffs because I put debuffs directly on top of my buffs. So that's why you see these 2 rows are buffs, this row is debuffs. And debuffs I do keep larger simply because I want to make sure I see them and they pop out much better. having 2 rows for buffs also ensures that there's a space, almost always a space, between your buffs and debuffs, so that the debuff pops even more. Things like click through are things I probably should use just so I don't click on them. And if you ever want to get rid of one of these, you just shift and left click on it, and it won't show up anymore. So like if I wanted to get rid of showing Aura of Light, or the thing of whatever buff that was, Infusion of Light, there we go. If I wanted to no longer see this, I would just hold shift and click on it, and it would no longer show up on this. It would still show up over here, but the aura wouldn't show up and the buff wouldn't show up. So debuffs is pretty much the same as the buffs. You know, number per row, number of rows, yada yada. For PvP, I imagine you'd want to change this massively, but I don't do any PvP, literally 0, so fuck that. The cast bar, just, you know, underneath, gotta find a cast. This is what I get for having Healium set up. Because if you notice, I don't have any of my healing spells down here except for Holy Shock, because it's also offensive. Anyway, so the cast bar is just, for me, right underneath it. The only thing I even use the cast bar for is the little prediction at the end, which is just lag prediction, so I can start casting as soon as... Well, usually I can start casting... Why is it? Okay, a little bit after that, oh, because I'm trying to cast... Anyway, sorry. So that... Oh, that's a buff I can use. Anyway, so that's your cast bar. Class bar, like I said, I don't know what it does for Paladin. For Shaman, it shows the totems on the side. Well, it shows the totems. I have it down on the side. Stagger bar for Monk, for Monk healing. And the raid icon is just you can move around where the raid icon shows up. So, for example, right now, I have it show up right there. Nice and noticeable. In fact, could even be larger. One thing you can also do is, actually I kind of want to center it, because I'd like to have it literally centered. So, voila, centered. So, you do that with, go through everything, go through your target, go through buffs, debuffs, yada yada. This target, there's your target, which is interesting, because, well, here, if I click myself, you can see that this is me, this is my target, which is also myself, and because I'm targeting myself, my target is, again, myself. It's just all kind of hilarious. But this is just a little minor thing, a small thing that shows larger, like, more important debuffs, essentially, is what I use it for. It's handy, because, as Disc Priest, I have the, boss targeted a lot, so that I can use Holy Fire and Smite to get evangelism stacks, or just do some healing when I don't need to cast other things. So I'm usually targeting the boss. This allows me to, or at least when I was using Healium and didn't have the raid frame set up, it allowed me to keep track of like tank debuff stacks and things like that. It also just lets me know which person the boss is currently attacking. So even if, let's say, Corper got hit by a big attack, if Alnite immediately taunted off of him, I know that Corper's not necessarily going to be taking a lot of damage shortly after, so I have some time to heal him, whereas I need to be keeping a very active eye on Alnite to make sure he doesn't drop. So it's just very handy, and as you can see, you can even go to the target frame, and that's just silly. A separate focus frame. Your focus is target. Pets. I'm not sure where my pet frame is because the Paladin never has a pet. You can have your pet target. Arena frames I've never messed with because I don't do any PvP. Boss frames are just their replacement of your typical Blizzard UI of having the boss health and large adds health over here. I tend to keep my boss frames still on the right side just because that's where I'm used to seeing them. It's constant. It's just a constant target essentially. It's almost like having them on focus without having to have them on focus. Uh, assist frames is for raid assists and raid leader. I believe. I'm actually not positive. Bodyguard frames is for your barracks bodyguard. It's just a little frame that shows excuse me, sorry. That shows your bodyguard's health. I think it might even have a cast bar with it, but it shows health. It shows if they have threat, and it might show a cast bar. I don't recall because it's just kind of silly. I mean, it's handy, so if your bodyguard's dead or not dead, but low on health or getting attacked or whatnot. But it's not all that important. Party frame is your basic, instead of up here with your up to 5-man party, it's just a separate party frame. As you can see, party frame with debuffs spanning out to the side. Then you have your raid frames, which I'll be going into more detail on in a second. Your raid pet frames, which I don't think I'd ever have enabled because I just don't give a shit about pets. 40-man raid frames, which can get kind of crazy, and it's nice that they have because when the only time frankly you use 40-mans anymore is on world bosses, and in that it's nice to be able to sort them differently, group by role, and then either ascending or descending. I usually do descending. Anyway, so this just makes it so that the tanks will be first, and then healers, and then DPS. And since it's a 40-man, and usually it's just just throw whatever 40 people you can together and go throw yourselves at Kazakh. I do it just, I just don't tend to care about DPS much unless the tanks aren't taking any damage. So that, and then tank frames are a couple nice little frames that will show just the tanks. They're similar to the assist frames that show on the side, and can go into those in a minute. Because next I'm going to do a quick buffs and debuffs thing. As I said, buffs are here, debuffs can't show at the moment because I don't have any. I'm trying to think of how I could get a debuff. Die and mass res myself? If only that worked. Anyway, right now I have my debuffs showing, like my buffs can go from here and then up to 3 or 4 rows, and my debuffs are above that. Both of them starting in the left and going across to the right. On my priest, because I moved everything around to be able to heal better, I have my buffs across the top and my debuffs down underneath my Skada. Because I actually keep this up during combat, because I have the space on my monitor, so why not? Plus having the debuffs up here as opposed to down here just makes them easier to see, because they start from right about, they start right about here and move right. So things like the Velhari Phase 2 debuff where you have to go stack on the other side of people. Don't remember what it's called all of a sudden. Guess I could look. But things like that are handy to be able to see, and see quickly without having to look over. Font of Corruption. There we go. So yeah. So things like Font of Corruption will pop up there, and I can keep an eye on it very easily while keeping an eye on everything else still. I've also, on Tubby, I've moved, as you can probably see in the video if you want, I've moved my personal bar over here and my target over on the left side and have my raid frames in the middle, just to have more space purely for the raid frames. I actually need to make my raid frames even slightly larger, I think, but I don't know. It works so far. So anyway, so buffs and debuffs, and the consolidated buffs are these up here. Your basic stats buffs, your basic stats, crit, mastery, etc. Um, you can filter it so that things that your spec doesn't care about don't show up. For example, since I'm in Holy right now, attack power would not show up on mine, but I like to have it showing just so I can be aware of whether or not the group as a whole is missing anything. Also, uh, default is for it to show what you're missing, like to highlight what you're missing, and I'm just not used to that. I'm very much used to highlighting what you have. Um, and so I have it reversed. Not really much to say about that. Um, I don't know what this is. Oh, text going red. I don't like the text going red. Um, it's just, it's not a look that I like. I find it distracting at best. Um, Especially for buffs. For debuffs, it might be handy, but for buffs, it's just like I'm able to keep track of them enough that and through other means such as power auras that I don't care. Um, so that's your buffs and debuffs, and really the most important thing of Elvui is your anchors. As you can see, this is literally everything that Elvui can do, except for the bags bar, which I have forgotten how to show for some reason. Um, so this is player frame, target frame, your boss button, everything, alternate power. I don't even know what that is. I don't think I've ever seen it actually show up. My only thought is things like the flamethrower in the Brackenspore fight might have a thing there, showing the heat, but I've never had to deal with it, so I just stick it up there. Sans bars down there, basic bars. Um, so yeah, this is most everything. Um, you can move anything, anywhere. Uh, for example, for this guy, I'm probably going to be moving quite a bit because I'm not actually sure how I want this to end up looking. What I do know is that my raid frames are going to need to move, so I'll stick those here for now. Get that out of the way. Lost control icon can go up there for now. Loot frame. This lists the loot as you pick it up. I have it on auto loot, so just right click and it shows what I'm picking up. The loot or alert frames is for like the rolls. The rolls will show, like the item will show here with the roll icon next to it and stack upwards. That's pretty much all there is to the anchors. Yeah, the main assist and main tank frames. That's about the size of one of the frames. So like if there's one assist, it'll be about that large, and then it'll grow down from there. Same with the tanks. If there's one main tank, it'll be about that size. The nice things about these is it shows their targets, just in a little box next to it, so that you don't have to have the tank. You can know what the tank's targeting. You can know if the assist, if the leader is trying to talk about something specific. You can know what he's targeting. I don't actually show them in part because we have a rather small raid group, so we don't really need them. Anyhow, and now on to actually setting up my raid frames. So these being my raid frames, obviously. Can't really see them very well, but there they are. For healing, I like to have them... Yep, that's too large. Wow, that can get huge. How much is 500? Good lord, that's insane. That actually sends them off the edge of my screen. That's silly. Anyhow. Stuck to the left now. I like to have them about there. Yeah, hold on, I need to move them again. This is why I moved my target frame. So I'm just gonna stick my target up here for now. And my target next to it so I know where it is. Move that. So anyway. So yeah, raid frames down there, no spacing, because you just don't need it, especially on a smaller size. I wish you could do like a group and a half, but that doesn't really make sense. So you can have multiple groups show. For my Shadow Priest, I have it stuck up in the upper left corner with it going two groups across, just to take up less room, frankly. I also have it set to sort differently so that I can see where the tanks are at all times and know if I need to throw a shield on them. But again, that was just back for like Cossack and shit, so you can sort by sort by class, sort by assist, sort by role and name, etc., etc. I like sorting my group because a lot of, especially priest healing, well, not a whole lot of disc, but prayer of healing specifically, has group heals, like it heals a group, and the group is based on literally the group that the player is in, so I like to know who all I'm healing in that case, so like these 5 people will get healed. Not sure what, like I haven't been able to get a good grasp on the ascending descending other than like I think it goes right then up or right then down. So ascending would be right then up, but it might be left then up. It's yeah. Oh no, growth direction. So this is why sort direction versus growth direction. Never mind. Reading is a skill. So yeah, my growth direction is usually right then down, simply because that way I know where the top is at all times. Although, now that I think about it, now that I think about it, because DBM's timers and announcements and such tend to be like right here, it's really an awkward spot. I need to change it. I have it set to grow up or right then up. So start here, go over, and then start going up. And just so that I'm least likely to hit the stupid DBM announcements. Sort direction, ascending, just, I don't know, it doesn't really do anything. So yeah, and then you can change things like the health to use text, to use, oh, this is something I have selected for healing as well. Text position is bottom center. If you notice, it says bottom, bottom left, bottom right. Obviously, bottom or top, without saying the left or right, is the top center or bottom center. Is it time walking already? Huh, so it is. That would be really weird. I guess if you have really tall bars, I don't know. You can change the coloring. I do a custom backdrop of black because that's just the easiest to see, because I do class health colors and then custom backdrop of black to just know who I'm healing and how much. The health, because I have class health on, it's not black. If anything, I would think I'd want those two reversed anyway, to have health in red and lack of health in black, because it to me is more noticeable. Oh, and untick by value because it just screws with my coloring. I'd like to be able to know, like, the name is in the class color. For example, that would be a monk. That'd be Wes, and only Wes. Um, Obviously, but because it's using me for all of them, the health is all actually pink. Because yay, pallies. Anyway, back to this, and then the indicators, debuff indicators, you can set to your liking. I haven't really used this long enough to get a good grasp of the various debuff indicators, at least the small ones. The large ones tend to be, dead in the center. Like if someone has the fell touch thingy from Zul'Harrak, it shows it like right dead center, so it's kind of obvious, tough to miss. Roll icon is nice and small, so I tend to keep that on, just because why not? Name, buff, blah blah blah. I don't actually know what these. Oh, these are just the little crowns that you can see. Maybe not. Nope, there aren't any little crowns on the example one. That's just a filled-in crown for the raid leader and a mini crown for the master loot. It'll be in the top left. If not for master loot, for assists. And I guess if the master looter is different than the raid leader, it would show the little money bags icon, but it isn't for us. So GPS arrow is one of the most useful things because if you hover over a person and they're not in range of you, it gives a little arrow pointing in the direction based on your camera, I think. But it shows you where they are, so you don't have to go trying to hunt them down on the mini map, or something. Like click on them and then hunt them down on the mini map. That's interesting. Oh, I am targeting myself, so why not highlighted? Because my target's not highlighted. Anyway, so it's just quite handy to be able to keep track of people. Especially when healing, because you have to go run over to someone and be like, I'm coming. For example, Zul'Harrak with Brandon running around everywhere, it is very handy to be like, oh, he's coming back from this direction, I can go meet him part way and heal him. So yeah, GPS arrow, quite handy. I leave it only on mouse over as opposed to all the time, and only when out of range, because otherwise things just get cluttered. I guess you could just make it smaller if you wanted to have it on all the time, but it's just not necessary. If they're in range, then what does it matter? To an extent. So yeah, that's pretty much that. Gonna turn that off. And now, hold on, just grab the cord. And now Clique, because that was the other part, is what is Clique? Because that's Elvui. Clique, oopsies, wrong thing. Now I just hit enter, blah. Clique is very simply a do-it-for-you mouse over add-on. Once you install the add-on, you open up your spellbook, and there's this little new tab down here. You click it. Yeah, click it. That's gonna get annoying, old fast. And it pretty much tells you what to do. It doesn't, obviously this doesn't change at all, because what you do is you hover over something, and where's Holy Shock? And click, and hit a mouse button, or keyboard button, or combo of buttons, such as Shift and 1, or Control and 1. I'm going to use right click to cast Holy Shock. So anytime I right click on a unit frame or target frame, on a raid frame or target frame or myself, it'll cast Holy Shock. Or in the party, it'll cast Holy Shock. As such, I tend to change this one. I change the binding to shift and left button to just so I'm not so my right button is free. Plus, I don't want to be left clicking on things because left click is my way of targeting things.
What are your orders, Commander?
And interacting with them. So I like having that clear, and if I need to interact via the unit frame, I can shift and left click. And right click, obviously. We'll just cast Holy Shock all the time. Yay, Holy Shocking for days. Important to know, though, is that what is down here, needs to match. So, if I have Holy Light, whoopsies, I just screwed that up because I'm an idiot. So Holy Light on 4, like if I hit 4, it'll try to use Judgment first. So because that's on the binding, and so even though my mouse over is on myself and I'm trying to heal myself, the game first tries to use whatever is down here. And to change that, obviously, you just click this to get out of the click. You just click that again. Do that, and voila, I can now heal. So just do that for everything. I also have 5 mouse buttons thumb buttons I use, as well as a shift and the same 5 thumb buttons. They're bound to numpad 1, 2, 3, 4, and 6, just because of the way my mouse is set up. Num 5 is actually my push to talk. Also, shift numpad 5 doesn't exist. If you look, there's nothing. Like, 1 is end, 2 is down arrow, 3 is page down, 5 is nothing. So you can't bind anything to the shift 5 anyway, so I just use it as my push to talk. It's also the most difficult to hit, based on how my mouse is set up. Anyway, so I have those for non-click healing, and mostly for cooldowns. You know, Avenging Wrath, Holy Avenger, which I probably need to get rid of. I haven't played this in a long time. But then, you know, have things like Flash Heal. Oh, I did it again. Anyway, what I usually do is I set things up down here, and then, fuck, they're evil. And then go back and heal, and do the click. Actually not entirely sure how I want to set things up. Larger, like, more important things, such as, this doesn't do anything. Yes, fuck that too. So, more important things such as, you know, Hand of Sacrifice, larger cooldowns. Although, frankly, because I have Healium, I might keep all my hands on Healium. Just so I don't have them down here. I don't have to worry about getting crazy with mouse overs. I mean, that's something. Like I said, I haven't thought about my pally much. This was just kind of an intro to explain what the hell it is. But larger cooldowns, such as, where'd it go? Hand of Protection. Oh, actually, Hand of Sacrifice or Hand of Protection. I would probably have on Control, left or right click. Simply because those are you know, big cooldowns and I want to be able to hit quickly. This is my middle mouse button and shift middle mouse button. So the scroll wheel click, I usually keep it for things like, where'd it go? Divine Shield. Perfect. Just kind of my oh shits for my personal oh shits. certain things I need to change on my priest that actually can start here. Get rid of the Divine Shield there. Don't really know what to do with my bacons. Yes, they're bacons. Bacons are something that I might put on, I might keep on Healium just for this character, simply because, especially because with Healium, so I don't need this. With Healium, if I have the bacon, it shows. Like any buff I have on someone, like it's odd that doesn't show. I figured it would, but I guess weird. Anyway, I thought that would show up here, but like my power word shields, my weakened soul. Actually, I don't know. Weakened soul doesn't show, but power word shield shows, and clarity of will for my priest shows. Prayer of mending shows. My beacons on this guy will show. My eternal flame, the dot or the hot, as it is, would show off to the left here, because the buff that corresponds to what's on the bar. Hand of protection, it shows, because it's a buff that is a straight up what's on the bar. Like I said, I don't know why execution sentence. I know why it doesn't, because that's a talent, and for some reason it doesn't show the talents on there, except for Beacon of Faith. I am all sorts of confused by Healium. It's part of why I'm trying to get rid of it. So I might keep the beacons on here just so I can keep very easy track of not only who has them, but switch them over to other people when I need to. But if I can find a better way of doing it, that would be preferable. Not really sure what to do with things like my Fist of Justice. Actually, Fist of Justice down there. Cleanse. My cleanse is going to be a shift right click. It's the same as I have it for my priest. This delete, because it's going to be that, and then where'd Eternal Flame go? Oh, there it is. So this is the basic setup. Did I just miss? I think I just missed. And there's really not much to it. Undo click for a second so I can get this out of here. In case you're curious, to line it up with my healer, or with my priest, it would be Holy Fire here and Smite there, which is why it's kind of in an awkward spot. But, like I said, there are some things that I just don't really know how to best work out, because I have... actually I need to switch these. Flash... and... oh no, Holy Shock's that, so... goodbye, Turn Evil. 3 can be a new thing. Because 2 is Flash Heal for my Hujima Watsum as well. Oh, Light of Dawn, make 4. This... change to 3. Just trying to line things up. Usually I would try to do something like put the Light of Dawn above, as Shift 1, because that way I'd have both my Holy Power users on the one key. But because I have the space, this works out pretty well, with right click being my Holy Shock. don't really know what else there is for, Oh, Lay on Hands is one that would be probably control, right click, and Hand of Sacrifice would be control left click. Well, might as well just do that. To be similar to the oh shit buttons of my priest. But other than that, I mean, that's click. That's, you know, anything you don't want here, you just right click and delete. Oh, and you can do some interesting things. I'm not entirely sure what they even mean. Like, I guess you change it so it only casts Eternal Flame if you're hovering over a friend, but for healing, that's the case anyway. But I guess, well, for things like Holy Shock, I guess you could change it so it's friend versus enemy, but that way, you know, if you're hovering over, if you have an enemy targeted but are hovering over a friendly target with, you know, a friendly target's unit frame, you could set it so it'll still cast on the enemy despite being hovered over the friendly. I don't run into that with my priest, except with penance, which I haven't had a problem with since I only use it on friends anyway. Because using it on an enemy would just be utterly wasteful. But yeah, that's pretty much all. So that's those two, and just, you know, to go through Healium real quick. Healium is very simple. You have your thing. Oh, don't know. Oh, flash shield's what I had there. You put in your buttons, and you click and heal. I'm not sure why my beacon went away. So yeah, and this is this at a you know, this is healing truly at its simplest in my opinion. It's just here are your spells, use them. But you know, once you get to larger groups, whoops. For example, if you have 5 groups or 5 people in each of these groups, you'll end up with 8 groups covering pretty much room like this. Because you have all this, plus you need some space for the buffs to show on the left. Otherwise, you know, things will carry over and they'll overlap, and this just gets nasty to try and look at. So you end up with, you know, all of this area. You pretty much have this to see through, and some stuff down here, but that's buffs and yourself. You can also, and you could move this down to like here, but if you get too many auras going, too many buffs going, that can interfere. So it gets pretty messy. But obviously in a, you know, in Elvui, you just have this. Much simpler, and even if you double that size, you still have more space on your screen with this doubled than you do with Healium at less than 1.0 scaling. So, I'm pretty sure this is 0.9 at the moment. Nope, this is 1.0. So I tend to keep it about 0.9. Because I know my spells by look. I don't need to know them that well. So, yeah, that's that. That's really all there is to my general healing and add-on tutorial. Yeah, let me see real quick. Oh, power auras is one other thing I use. And that is simply, actually this I will go back on my priest for. Power auras is similar to weak auras, from what I can tell. Except you just set them up yourself. So, nope, wrong person. So, you know, instead of, because I honestly don't know how weak auras works. If weak auras, you know, if people tell me after watching this that, oh, the weak auras works the exact same, only it's simpler because of blah 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 blah, then awesome, I'll probably swap over. But I've been using power auras for a while. I'm just used to it. I went with it. But for example, all you do is you make little displays for when you have certain things. So, if I have a shadow orb, I have it set up. At least I thought I had it set up to show when I had multiple shadow orbs. Oh, I think I know what happened. Hold on a second. No, that's fine. Oh, it's only in combat. Okay. Let me go find a training dummy. So that's how to best work this. As some of you might notice at this point in time, my ping is stupid high. That's what I get for transferring from an oceanic server. My ping never went down. Anyway, so Power Wars gives me these. I set it up to give me these little purple orbs. Whenever per shadow orb that I have, so that I don't have to be paying attention to my bar over here. It's just easier. I can, you know, be moving around and such, running around. Oh look, I still know how many orbs I have. And for some things, I use it a lot more for healing than I do for this. Like this, literally, I only have it for shadow orbs. But for healing, I have it set up so that for every stack of evangelism, I don't know why it's not. Oh, it's not showing because I'm in it because I have the menu open. For every stack of evangelism, I get one of these, and then at 5, because it maxes at 5, I get a little bouncing one, and I have it bounce so that I remember to use it. While I'm here, let me change some things. This I want to be 4. This shift 4. And then swap those. Okay. That's something I noticed in the right last night. Like I said, this is, you know, shift 1 and shift 3. And it's just kind of awkward. One thing I noticed watching one of the Fat Boss videos is that Lawrence, I don't know exactly how he says it, has a second one set up to count down the Archangel buff itself, which, while it would be handy, that's also kind of what these wings are for. Yay, wings. And it's just, but now that I don't have as much stuff on my screen thanks to getting rid of Healium, again, things I might get back, you know, go and find or look into. Because this is my first week with using Clique and Elvui, well, using Clique and raid frames to heal. So I still have a lot, well, probably not all that much, but a decent bit that's going to be changing. But that's power auras. I mean, oh, and to set up the aura itself. Interesting. Thing that it didn't do that. Anyway, sorry. To set up the aura itself, you simply just, new. You type in the buff, or if it's not a buff, for example, rage, energy, or power, go down, select shadow orbs. It was really handy on my warlock for... Oh, delete this now. It was really handy on my warlock for keeping track of demonic energy in as a demonology warlock, because it's much more fluid than the embers or shards of the other two specs, because those are just, you have them or you don't. You have a whole one or you don't. Whereas the energy, it's much more of just a constant, almost like mana secondary resource type of deal. So I had a couple things set up so that I knew when I was above 90% or below 20%, so that I could keep track of it on the fly better. Because I noticed that there were a lot of times where I'd be capped out, like, as I was leveling at least, I'd be capped out and I wouldn't even notice. Because the visual for that lets you know how much you have doesn't really change much from like 40% to 90%. It looks very much the same. It's kind of dumb. But I also use it for things like my reparation buff, which is my 2-set buff. It's this thing. Just, how many stacks of it I have, because it stacks up to 6, and how long it's lasting. How long it has left. And essentially it's just a, hey, and I have it this large, frankly, because it's a, hey, you need to keep this up at all times. If this drops, you fail. But, you just you just go in, and, you select your texture. They have a whole ton to choose from, and tell it what to do. You can add animations to it. Like this, for example, have it set to zoom in so that it plops in as opposed to just appearing, so it's a little bit more noticeable. And as I said, the 5 stack, I have bounce. So you set the animation, the begin animation is bounce, and then when it sits there, it starts to flash. Just to make sure it's really freaking noticeable. And you can change even the speed of the animation so that it flashes quickly, flashes really slowly. I can change the colors, size, position, rotation, symmetry, yada yada. So yeah, power auras is just, like I said, I've been using it for a while. If weak auras does the same things, great. I haven't looked at weak auras really at all. Because I have something that worked, so why would I screw with it? And I use it so little, like it's so inconsequential, frankly, that there's no reason to mess with it, unless it's a very simple swap and does the same thing. So yeah, that's really all I've got. If you have any more questions, feel free to let me know. Hope you enjoyed the tutorial.